Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. The RTGAC is back, and today we are virtual for today's podcast. Hopefully, my stream does not restart like it does when I do the what do you call it, the NBA streams. Let me just make sure the microphone is working. I tested it out before the stream, but yeah, I don't know. We just gotta make sure we're good to go. Yep. All right. So we are good. The microphone works. So, Cole, say what's up to the people.
How's it going, everybody? As Ryan said, first virtual podcast. I'm fired up and I'm ready to go. And can't wait to show you guys what we have today. Should be a great edition lined up for you guys. And I'll let Ryan take this one away.
All righty. So, as you guys do know, we're going to run down this edition. And a bit of updates right after that. So we will run down this edition of the podcast right now. We have the Phillies weekly recap at this current. We will do that currently. No, actually, just in a minute. I'll be doing some UFC 302 predictions. And then moving over to the NFL. This was a little bit of something off the field since there's not really a lot of stuff to talk about. Tom Brady and Greg Olsen, they've had a bit of controversy. The number one commentator on Fox. I'd like to talk just a little bit about that. Then we were talking about who will win the NFC North. Cole will be running that down. Then in the NBA side of things, we'll be talking about the Western Conference. As we know, the Boston Celtics won last night to go to the NBA Finals. We'll be talking about the game tonight between the Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks. And then Cole will be talking about Ronald Acuna's injury, his ACL tear, what that means for the Atlanta Braves. And then to finish it off, Ryan's rant. Cole, since the last time we have talked, the Phillies have went 4-3, a bit of a drop-off. Talk about this team.
Yeah, so as you said, 4-3, not the greatest, especially on, we come off, we sweep the Texas Rangers. I'm fired up going into this Colorado series. Boom, you lose in extra innings. You have a chance, I think main reason why we lost that game, obviously Harper got ejected earlier in the game. I think that really hurt us in the end with Rojas up in the 3 spot. It really wasn't the greatest spot for him in the later innings. Obviously, Jose Ruiz did a great job in relief in the 10th. I thought he gave us a chance to score in the 11th, but again, we did not come through. So, not the biggest loss in the world. Then you come back on Saturday, you bounce back, you win that one. Huge win there. And then you go into Sunday looking to win the series, and Al Quantrill pitches an absolute gem for the Rockies. And Suarez, he had to lose at some point, and he loses here. But I will say one thing. I think elevation was a bit of a problem. Just the change in,
elevation,
temperature and elevation. I think it's a different, spot for him to be playing in. And I think he wasn't really ready and adapted for that, environment that he was going to play in. But I thought he did an okay job. The first 3 innings were very bad, but then he started to rein it in afterwards. Walks were too big of an issue in that game. And then Monday, the San Fran game. Taijuan Walker, he needs to be let go. I've been saying this since the beginning. Spencer Turnbull should be our 5th starter. I'm sick and tired of Taijuan Walker starting. He's not good enough. He walks too many guys. He doesn't have any velo. He doesn't have any put-out pitches. And, we did a good job tatting up Snell, but then, their bullpen came in and locked us down offensively. But, now you got a chance to get a win today with Wheeler on the mound. It's a great spot to win here. And then you're up with Sanchez to close out the series against the Giants. So I'm happy to see what they can do with Wheeler and Sanchez on the mound. I think Sanchez's changeup has been way too good this year, and I think they have a chance to win the series here. But, they definitely got to lock in offensively. They haven't been hitting great, especially since that Colorado series. I think they just need to, get things going again offensively. But that's all I got so far. And then the St. Louis series, I'm excited for that one. St. Louis isn't that incredible. Paul Goldschmidt has been catching some fire recently, but he hasn't had a great job. He hasn't done a great job this year. So, I think we definitely have some chances to win some games here in the upcoming week. So, yeah, I'll turn it over to you, Ryan.
Alrighty, I'm just trying to get my stuff ready. If my stuff would like to work. The first edition of The podcast starting out slow. Okay, here we go. Anyway, first thing for the Philadelphia Phillies. Listen, they played well. They started out really good. I'm really excited about Ranger Suarez. Obviously, as Cole said, he had to lose at one point, but that win against the Texas Rangers, I was very, very, very excited about that. Obviously, going 7 innings, I thought I don't know. I feel like he played good enough to get the win in that game. 10 strikeouts as well. You definitely like to see that. So yeah, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Ranger Suarez. You sweep them 11 runs, 5 runs. You only give up 4 and 2 in the next 2 games. So I'm really liking to see that there. I hope that continues, which I do expect it to. Then you go against the Colorado Rockies, which Cole said obviously elevation is a bit of a problem. That has been a problem not only just for the NBA, but obviously for the MLB. But I think another thing that has to do with it, the Philadelphia Phillies are flying from Philadelphia all the way over to the West Coast. It's almost about a 5-hour flight. Then you're talking about the Colorado Rockies, who only flew from Oakland back to Colorado the night before. So obviously, with the Phillies, they're getting in a bit later. They're not being able to sleep in their own beds. So I think that could have had a problem with it. And then the rest of the series, not that great. I understand you do get the win on Saturday, but you only really exploded there in the 9th inning. Harper with a 3-run home run. So you really shouldn't have won that game right there. You probably should have been swept, but definitely always good to get one. So it's not as good as it looks there. Then on Sunday, you come out and just do not have a good game. As Cole said, Walker playing absolutely terrible. Hopefully, he does get into it quickly. But when it came to the Phillies this year, it really didn't take any of these guys a few games to get into it. If at the most, it took them about 1 game to maybe get into their groove, and then it was, lights out from there. So yeah, Walker not playing great. I give him about 2 more starts before you give him the boot and maybe bring it back to Spencer Turnbull. But the problem with Tyshawn Walker is that you're giving him $17 million. And you really don't have. It's really stupid to put him in the $17 million reliever. You don't typically see that. You see more of that with closers. So yeah, it's not really looking good there. But I'm liking what they're doing right now. They're obviously putting up a decent amount of runs. Obviously, yesterday against San Francisco was a bit of a problem. Now you can't really blame any flights there because that's not a bit of a problem here. But this road trip, you got another game against the Giants. You played early yesterday. Hopefully, you can get the win tonight and the game on Wednesday as well. Not really much there, but once again, you have half decently easy series. You have the Cardinals who are sitting around 500, currently below 500 right now. Then you start to get a bit harder right now. You go against the series against the Milwaukee Brewers, who are currently 8-9 games over 500. Then you go into London. You go against the New York Mets. Then you go against the Boston Red Sox. You go against the Baltimore Orioles. We'll obviously be talking about that as it goes along. But the series are going to get harder. You're not at this easy stretch anymore where you have these easy series. You're going against harder teams. So that'll definitely be a test for the Philadelphia Phillies. Do I think they can get it done? Based off the Colorado series, it definitely degrades some of your confidence, but I do think they should be able to pull out a few of these series. That's it for me there. Cole, do you have any UFC predictions as we are moving on?
Right before we get to the UFC predictions, I will say one thing about Whit Merrifield. He is not good at all. I think Bryson Stott should be playing every day. I think they gave him a rest day yesterday. I just don't see why they're doing that. Whit Merrifield is not productive at all. He had a big error in that later innings against the Giants, and along with Alec Boehm. That game on Monday was very, very sloppy. I was not having a fun time watching it. Whit Merrifield was, not playing up to par. Any of these big situations, he's not really getting hits. It's more of walks and anyways, he's just been bad all around. And yeah, I don't think he should be playing.
One thing I will say, I forgot to mention it. Sosa has been playing pretty good as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like you can the Phillies can be comfortable with him, not going with Turner on a day, and going with Sosa because he's going to be productive, not just defensively, but he's been playing well offensively as well.
Oh yeah, so he's had triples in since the last time we've been together. Right. The one against Colorado in the 9th, I believe. I think that was a triple, and then I think so. The one against San Fran when he hit it in the triples alley. So yeah, he's been playing great. And I don't think Wish should be playing.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving on. UFC 302 predictions. Cole, start with our first match.
All right. Give me a second to pull it up real quick.
All right.
All right, I'll start with the first match. Randy Brown versus Dos Santos.
All righty. Very first match. Listen, I'll take Randy Brown in this fight here. I don't know. Randy Brown's 6-1 in his last fights. He's definitely on a hot streak right now. I definitely do like to see that, which makes me want to take him. He is minus 175 on the money line right now. Yeah, I will take Randy Brown in this fight.
All right, I'm gonna take Dos Santos here just to spice things up a little bit.
I got you.
Next matchup, Almeida versus Romanov. Hopefully I pronounced that right.
Hold on. I listen. I can't. Yeah, Almeida versus Alexandre Romanov. I'm pretty sure. I think I got that right. Hold on. I gotta pull. I lost it. Okay. This is. Listen, I don't know. This is tough for me because I don't know. Hold on. I gotta pull this up. I'm just saying words.
I'll give you my prediction.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I'm gonna take Almeida in this one. I don't know about you. I just think Romanov isn't going to be good enough to go up against Almeida. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm just leaning towards Maida.
All right, I lost my analysis. This is going crazy. I am going to take I'm going to take Romanov in this fight. I lost all my analysis. I lost it. All right, next fight.
All right, Holland versus Michael.
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Kevin Holland here. I think this one's pretty obvious in my opinion. Kevin Holland is doing everything right now. I'm really liking what Kevin Holland is doing. Not much more to say about that. Once again, I lost all my analysis. I don't know where it went in my notes and all, but yeah, I'm going to take Kevin Holland.
Definitely, I'm going to go the same thing. Going to go with Kevin Holland here.
Right.
Next up, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa.
There you go. All right. Sean Strickland, obviously, he's coming off losing the middleweight championship to Duplessis, but he is the number one ranked contender right now. Paulo Costa, listen, I think that he is a contender for a championship. I don't think that he is actually ever really going to win a UFC gold. I doubt he ever moves up. But right now, yeah, I like Sean Strickland to strike with him. I like him. Yeah, I like him on the feet. This one's probably not going to go to the ground, which is probably why Dana White made this matchup. This is not going to be going to the ground. I really like Sean Strickland to win this fight.
I agree. I'm going with Sean Strickland. I think he's back for revenge. Yeah, I don't see any reason why Costa would beat him. All right, man. The lightweight main event title fight. Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier.
Makhachev.
It's
all right. We got it. All right. Listen, I think everybody wants Dustin Poirier to win. I don't think anybody wants to see Dustin Poirier use. This is finish the story part 2 for Dustin Poirier. Obviously, Cody Rhodes got it done, but I don't think Islam Makhachev is going to let Dustin Poirier finish his story. Listen, Islam Makhachev can strike with Dustin Poirier, but Dustin Poirier cannot go to the ground with Islam Makhachev. This is the best pound for pound fighter in the world. He can do everything he really wants to. Obviously, coming off a win over Alexander Volkanovski, 2 straight victories over Alexander Volkanovski. First one coming in a first round finish with the head kick. Obviously, Volkanovski was coming in on 11 days' notice because of Charles Oliveira backed out of that fight. But Dustin Poirier cannot cannot go to the ground with Islam Makhachev. I expect him to get a lot of ground time in this fight. I'm looking for Islam Makhachev. I think this will go the distance. I don't think Dustin Poirier is going to be finished via submission or anything like that. I definitely don't think he will be beaten when it comes to striking, but I do like Islam Makhachev to win this via unanimous decision.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Ryan.
Really?
I'm going with Dustin Poirier.
I'm hearing mixed things about this fight. I feel like some people are picking Poirier just because they want Islam to lose, but I don't know. I feel like some people really do believe that he is actually going to win.
Yeah, I mean, Makhachev is he's definitely a great fighter, and I would usually pick him to win, but I just like Dustin Poirier.
Listen, I had so much. I always have had so much riding on Alexander Volkanovski that when Islam Makhachev beat him, I was like, okay, never mind, he's done. Like this is the best fighter in the world right here. There's no way you can count Islam. I don't know. I just have to take Islam Makhachev. All right. Anyway, moving on. This isn't really on the field news, but I feel like I do need to talk about it because I don't know. This just seems pretty interesting to me. The Tom Brady and Greg Olson controversy. So as we know, Tom Brady signed a 10-year. Cole, I'm not sure if you have the contract up. I think it's $375 million for the next 10 years. Please fact check me on that one. Greg Olson, though, has won a few awards for being Fox's top commentator for the NFL. And yeah, Tom Brady now coming in to take his number one spot. Cole, do you have it up? What's his contract?
Yep. 10 years, $375 million.
All right, I got it correct. Anyway, listen, I just want to talk about this really quick. I don't know if anybody like a lot of people disagree with this, but I've never really talked about it. I'm not the biggest fan of Greg Olson. Like, I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of his commentary. Like, whenever he's done the Eagles games and I've listened to him, I don't know. I just feel like he hasn't done the greatest job in the world, like giving the analysis. Maybe he's done it for other games. I tune out commentary, no matter whether it's good or bad, on other games. But when it comes to the Eagles, I tend to listen to it a bit more. I'm not necessarily sure why. I don't know how you can hear it over my yelling. But anyway, Tom Brady coming in. Obviously, it's not necessarily fair, and Greg Olson is going to be getting a $7 million decrease in his salary. But I feel like everybody complaining that it's not fair, it's this or the other. Tom Brady was supposed to come in a few years ago, and Greg Olson knew that Tom Brady was supposed to come in a few years ago. So why wouldn't he just end up leaving to go to CBS or ESPN? Obviously, he wasn't going to be, the number one commentators there because obviously CBS has not Troy Aikman. Obviously CBS has Tony Romo, and then ESPN has Troy Aikman, so you weren't going to be the number one commentator there. But if you I guess Greg Olson's betting on himself. I doubt that he will be, the number one commentator for Fox in anytime soon. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. People that are complaining about this, I feel that it's a little stupid because Greg Olson did know once again that Tom Brady was coming in to be the number one lead commentator analyst for Fox. Apparently, Tom Brady's a very, very good analyst. Apparently, he breaks the game down really, really well. Obviously, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Well, that's what people say. Is the greatest quarterback of all time. People say that he will be a great analyst for Fox. I'm not disagreeing with that, but we will be there to see. Cole, anything on that?
Yeah, no. I agree with you. Tom Brady signed a deal to become, the lead over there at Fox. Greg Olson, know your role. Tom Brady got this deal for a reason. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. He's actually going to break the game down well. I can't wait to see his first game called. But yeah, I don't have much on this.
Yeah, you did a bit of the Rock saying, "Know your role and shut your mouth." There you go. Come on. Again, what we watching wrestling recently? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know. Just thought I'd throw it out there,
Queen and King of the Ring was actually a hit. It was a decent pay-per-view, or decent PLA, but we'll see. I don't know. It was all right. Raw last night was pretty crazy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you didn't catch Raw last night, watch the tail end of that. That was yeah. Anyway, We'll be moving on to some on the field stuff. The NFC North, one of the better divisions in football. You obviously have the Minnesota Vikings. They, drafted J.J. McCarthy. They have Justin Jefferson, who is yet to sign an extension. They just drafted Dallas Turner. They have a lot of guys there. They obviously have Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield. Then you move over to the reigning champions of the North, the Detroit Lions, who obviously have, they just signed Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have Aiden Hutchinson. They have a deep backfield. They have some really good guys there. Then you have the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, a bunch of receivers that are very, very good, just not one that really stands out. You obviously have Josh Jacobs that you just signed, Xavier McKinney as well. And then with our last team, the Chicago Bears, who will probably have some of the biggest storylines coming into the year. They have Caleb Williams. They just got Keenan Allen. They have DJ Moore. Their defense is something half decent. Jalen Johnson's there as well. So, Cole, let me ask you the question. Who will be Kings of the North next year?
Well, I will answer your question in a minute. But First thing, I'll start with the last place. So last place, I think everybody knows where I'm going to go with this one. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings. You lose Kirk Cousins. Obviously, you still got playmakers like Justin Jefferson. But, I mean, you look at this team, and TJ Hawkinson, obviously. If I'm missing any other, obviously there's other big names on that team. But they don't have a quarterback. Sam Darnold is not enough. Neither is J.J. McCarthy. I don't think they will be enough to, amass either of these three teams. So I'll put them at 4. Mm-hmm. Number 3, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this a lot. Number 3 is going to be the Chicago Bears. Okay. I understand people have huge hopes for them. I think that they are a great team. I think not Justin Fields. I'm so used to Justin Fields. I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be that great in the league. I really don't. I think he's going to need at least a year, to progress. I think it'll be, sort of like a Trevor Lawrence type of deal. But, I definitely think he's a great quarterback. But I just don't think he's going to be good enough to lead this team. I think they'll get in the playoffs. I think they'll be the last wild card. But I don't think this team will be good enough to make a push for the first. The number 1 in the NFC North. Number 2, I got the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
People think that the Packers aren't good. But you know what? Jordan Love's going to have an MVP type caliber.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
I've had my takes before. I said I will stand on my takes. I said that Bryce Young is going to have they're going to be above 500. The Panthers is going to carry the Panthers to be above 500. I also said that the Sixers were going to win the NBA Finals. That didn't quite work out in my favor. But here's one thing I will say. The Packers are going to be number 1 in the NFC North. They're going to lose their first game to the Eagles, and then they're going to go on a great win streak. I got them in the first slot in the NFC North. Detroit Tigers, I think someone, I don't know who, I have a feeling someone's going to get injured. One of their key players is going to get injured in the middle of the season. Who
you predict that will be?
I'm not saying who, but I just have a feeling.
Okay.
I just have a feeling. So, do you have any thoughts? Any corrections you want to make?
I think the Bears will go 9-8. And so you're saying that 3 NFC North teams will make the playoffs?
Yes.
Or 2 NFC North teams. Sorry. What do you think the Vikings record is going to be?
Vikings, they'll probably be like 6. They'll probably have 6
wins. 6-11.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it depends on what kind of contract they give Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Because obviously he needs someone to throw the football to. I don't know. We also don't know who's going to be starting.
You're right.
Because if Sam Darnold starts, that kind of just means that you're not really trying to win this year. But if J.J. McCarthy starts, that means you are trying to win this year. But it's probably not going to happen because J.J. McCarthy doesn't really have the best arm in coming out of the draft. Mm-hmm. So
I frankly don't think that Sam Darnold is going to start on that team. I think it's going to be J.J. McCarthy. Well, yeah, he played great in San Francisco, but again, it's because of Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan is, I said this before, I'll say it again, he's one of the best head coaches in the league. I think he is the 3rd best head coach in the league, behind Andy Reid and then Mike Tomlin. But I think, I just don't see a world where Sam Darnold is starting unless J.J. McCarthy proves everyone wrong that he's just a horrible quarterback and he's just, I don't know. I just don't see a world where Sam Darnold is starting on a football team.
I think J.J. McCarthy is a game manager. Now, once again,
I agree.
I don't find that to be an insult. Like, what people call, like, if you go into, like, if you go on Twitter or TikTok or stuff like this, when they say the word game manager, you're supposed to, like, take a leap of faith. Like that's such a bad thing. Like, at least quarterbacks are getting to the Super Bowl. So, what's the biggest problem with calling guys game managers? That's not a problem. Me, if I was getting to the Super Bowl and being called a game manager, do that all you want. I really could care less. Anyway,
and people call Josh Allen the most talented quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
and you've seen what he's done the past couple of years.
Right.
I mean, he's obviously got to an AFC Championship game, but that's as far as he got.
Right. So being a game manager, I don't think
the division.
No, he's been in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, that's right. Him. Yeah. And then Brock Purdy. You see what Brock Purdy's done?
Yeah, going to the Super Bowl.
I mean, he was a touchdown away from winning the Super Bowl.
I know. I mean, I don't see this whole problem being a game manager. Anyway, I agree. I will see the Vikings at 4th. Now that obviously we've talked about it here. It depends, and obviously, no matter whether they start McCarthy or Darnold, they'll probably be 4th because once again, you start Darnold, you're not trying to win. You start McCarthy, he's probably not going to be ready to start, but it shows you're trying to win. And then I'll probably get Justin Jefferson to re-up with the Minnesota Vikings. That will be interesting to see. I don't even know. Did he go to voluntary OTAs? I don't think he did. I don't know. Because I know Jamar Chase and T. Higgins obviously didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he went. Anyway. So yeah, I have them at 4th. Number 3. That's a tough one. See, I didn't write this down because I got these I got these a little late. Anyway. Number 3. I'll probably say I'll say the Chicago Bears. I think they'll be 9-8. I think the Packers have a better record than that, including the Lions. I think the Bears will be a very good team, just with the talent they have. I'm not a big Matt Eberflus guy. I thought they probably should have got rid of him, but there really wasn't that much on the market. I don't think they were going to bring in Bill Belichick to try and develop Caleb Williams because we saw what he did with Mac Jones. Now, that wasn't necessarily his fault, but he was the head coach on that team. So, I don't know. We'll see what the available options are next year. You have Caleb Williams. You have a talented defense. You obviously just got DeAndre Swift, St. Joe's prep brother, right there. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. So yeah, you have all these guys that can help you win. You will have enough talent to at least make the playoffs, as Cole mentioned. 9-8. It is a bit of a stretch, but they probably could get there just based off how the other divisions are going to look. Like I don't necessarily see. Teams like the Arizona Cardinals winning.
The other teams that I have fighting for the wild card, it's going to be the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, and you could throw the Rams in there, but I don't think they're going to have nearly a good season.
I think the Rams are good. Their offense is good. It also depends on how healthy Stafford stays, because if he gets hurt, then they're done.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets hurt, then they're done. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. 1 and 2. I'll take the Lions. I will be a little basic here. See, I don't disagree. I don't necessarily I obviously disagree with Cole's take there.
Fine. It's a bold take.
I understand. Yeah, I know, but I obviously disagree with Cole's take there. But I don't. It's not out of the realm of possibility that the Packers do win. Jordan Love can obviously take that step to be an MVP candidate, or he could possibly be the MVP. We're not necessarily sure. He obviously had a very big resurgence in the playoffs, which he could be that type of quarterback where he really only explodes in the playoffs, and during the regular season, he's not necessarily that good. Where he's just, just below, or just that good, I'd say, just that kind of quarterback. But I think the Lions, they're obviously experienced. They obviously have this type of, they know they've been here before. They just got to the NFC Championship game. They have one of the best coaches in the NFL, in Dan Campbell. Jared Goff just got paid. Amon-Ra St. Brown just got paid. I think they realize that they do have to win in the next couple of seasons. So I think that's going to get a chip on their shoulder. Guys also want to get paid. And as I mentioned before, when I was talking about Jared Goff when he just got his extension, the Lions have to win in the next few seasons because this cap hit is going to be absolutely terrible when you realize that you're going to have to pay guys like you just paid Jared Goff, like you just paid Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. You're going to have to pay some of your best playmakers sooner rather than later, and this cap hit is going to be absolutely enormous. So I don't necessarily see the Lions losing this division just because I think they have that chip on their shoulder knowing that they have to win this division and win a championship in the next couple of seasons. The Packers, I think they'll probably be 1 or 2 games below the Lions. I think this is a very good team. Obviously, they just got Josh Jacobs in there, so that'll take the pressures off of some of these receivers. I feel like the Packers, though, are doing kind of the thing that the Kansas City Chiefs are doing. I think also the Chargers and the Bills are trying to do it as well. They're trying to not have a number 1 wide receiver, and they have all their faith in the quarterback to take them to the promised land. I don't think any quarterback can do that outside of Patrick Mahomes because I think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback, the best quarterback on the planet right now, greatest quarterback of all time. So I don't think you really can do that unless your name is Patrick Mahomes. So once again, my rankings, I have the Lions, Packers, Bears, and Vikings 1 through 4. Cole, you have the Packers, Lions, Bears, Vikings, if I'm correct.
Yep.
All righty. So moving over back into the MLB, Ronald Acuna Jr. in the first inning, I believe it was 2 days ago against the Pittsburgh Pirates, he ended up tearing his ACL in the first inning on a non-contact injury, going for a steal. The Braves are no stranger to injuries this year. Obviously, losing Spencer Strider earlier in the year, he will be out for this season, and the Braves just not looking that good in the standings at the current moment in time. They're 6 games back below the Phillies, and they probably will get a wild card spot depending on how well they do without Acuna. Cole, talk about what this injury means to the Atlanta Braves.
Well, yeah. So this injury means they're not going to win the NL East.
Definitely
number
not.
1. Number 2. Now you have the guy who won MVP last year. I understand he was not playing well this year. I understand that. But you have to take into account, this guy won MVP last year, right? So with that being said, at the ripe age of 26, both of his ACLs have been torn. That is not what you want because that's who you're going to build around. Him and Strider, that's their team right there. That's the heart and soul of their team. That's their best pitcher and their best hitter. Now they're both out for the season. I mean, I guess you would be looking at next year for them, obviously, but I mean, you're not going to see them in the playoffs, even if they get to the World Series, like we saw, like with Rhys Hoskins, he might return. But yeah, now Olsen has to step up, number 1. Ozuna's been hitting well. He needs to continue that. There needs to be someone who can be a leader on this team and who can fill in for their best hitter and their best pitcher. Right now, I mean, it's going to be Max Fried or Chris Sale's been pitching great for them. I'm looking at this lineup. Who's going to step up? I think Austin Riley is going to be that guy. I think he's going to have to step in because we saw in 2022, 2023, Austin Riley was that guy. People were looking at him for even MVP at one point. So, I mean, I think if he can really step up and, assume that role that Acuna has had, I think they really have a shot at this. But one thing I will say, Ronald Acuna is going to have a tough time coming back from this. I mean, you looked at it earlier, 2021, I believe was the year that he tore his other ACL. Yes. I mean, he was on for MVP caliber year again. So, I mean, this is just devastating for the game. How many guys are getting injured, especially with the way things are going. Obviously, you have Strider going out. I mean, pitchers are going out every day for this. I think I've talked about this on an earlier one. I mean, so many guys are getting Tommy John. I think this is Strider's second time getting Tommy John.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is not looking good for this team. Obviously, I mean, you definitely have to. I don't know. I mean, I'm at a loss for words. I mean, when I saw this come through, I was like, wow, this is huge. Because I mean, frankly, I don't think they can recover from this year. I mean, I think they can make the playoffs, but I don't see them beating, teams like the Giants who are red hot. I mean, there's a few. I mean, right now, there are not many good teams in the NL.
Right.
Like, there are only about eight or nine teams above 500, if I'm correct. And that's, coming from each of the three divisions. But, I mean, you look at this Braves team, and now without their two best guys, I don't know who they're going to look to, especially when it comes to the playoffs, because those guys were guys that they can count on, especially Strider. Strider was a huge injury. And then, obviously, you have Acuna going out this week. Just devastating for that team. I mean, our prayers go out to both of those players.
Definitely don't want to see anybody get injured. Now obviously this is no blessing for the Atlanta Braves, but there is a blessing somewhat in the future. I assume the Braves, Cole, you might disagree, you know this a little better than I do, that the Atlanta Braves might go, they might go 500 the rest of the way, around 500 the rest of the way. I think that's fair to assume, just based off their record right now. And the way Marcell Ozuna has been hitting right now, I mean, he has been hitting really good, batting .310, 15 home runs, 47 RBIs. I mean, he's first in everything when it comes to hitting on the Atlanta Braves. You definitely like to see that there.
And Reynaldo Lopez has been great for them pitching.
Right. I mean, they've had some guys playing very well. Obviously, as Cole mentioned, their pitching has been, pretty good. I'm just looking at their pitching stats right here. I'm looking at Chris Sale. He leads them in wins. Lopez, as Cole mentioned, a 1.75 ERA. And I'm looking, you're looking at all this right there. You still have Fried. You still have Morton. Some of these guys can get the job done. Listen, I think Chris Sale will eventually collapse again. I think eventually he will get injured. Now, I'm not hoping for that to happen, but I definitely think it just will happen based off the way it has been going the past couple of seasons. Eventually, something will happen there. That obviously will not be good. But right now, the blessing that I was going to talk about is that, as I just said, the Braves are going to go 500 the rest of the way. In the month of June, they have a lot of teams that are sitting at 500. You're starting out with the Las Vegas Athletics, the Oakland Athletics, who are obviously a couple games, about 11 games below 500. Then you have the Boston Red Sox. You have the Washington Nationals. The Baltimore Orioles are obviously a tough team. The Rays, you never know what you're going to get out of them. The Yankees, Cardinals. You have one game against the White Sox, then the Pittsburgh Pirates. So you have a couple series against teams who are sitting at 500, kind of where you're at right now. So if you can win the majority of these series, you can be in good shape getting into playoff team into the second half of the year, trying to get hot, trying to get accustomed to each other without guys like Strider and Acuna Jr. And then you could possibly make the playoffs and see where it goes from there. Obviously, as Cole mentioned, it's not going to be a Rhys Hoskins thing where Acuna is most going to try and come back from this injury by the time the playoffs roll around, because obviously it's happened more towards the middle of the season. For those guys, they're just getting ready to try and ramp up for next season. But I'm looking at the Atlanta Braves right now, and I'm saying, okay, you're not necessarily going to win a World Series. You're kind of stuck because you are trying to compete with the team that you have right now, and, trying to not really do anything and just kind of roam around there in the wild card is not really going to be what the Atlanta Braves want to do. As Cole mentioned, Acuna was not playing the greatest in the world, but he is obviously your best player, no matter what anybody says, both offensively and defensively. So it is definitely a blow to see Ronald Acuna Jr. Be injured, and not really much more there. So moving on into the NBA, I was talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves series against the Dallas Mavericks. Now, Cole, as we as we said on the last edition of the podcast, we thought the Timberwolves were going to win this series. I gave the Dallas Mavericks almost no chance to win this series. I thought that the size and the perimeter offense of the Minnesota Timberwolves was going to be absolutely terrible. Also, Jaden McDaniels has played out of every defender that has played Luka Doncic in his career, Jaden McDaniels has been the best defender to ever play Luka Doncic in his career. It is literally a proven stat. So I gave the Dallas Mavericks almost no chance to win this series, but kind of like the Dallas Mavericks were in their previous series against the Oklahoma City Thunder, they knew how to close out games. Like, they have been closing out games better than everybody. Well, maybe if you count the Boston Celtics, but really, they have been closing out games based off the level of competition that they have played. They're closing out games better than any team in the NBA has. I think that will be a problem if they, and probably will, ultimately end up going to the finals. That'll be a problem for the Boston Celtics, but we'll talk about that when we get there. And right now, I mean, Dallas has just been absolutely dominant. I think the key to this series has been backdoor cuts to the basket from guys like Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. You see Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving when there's a double team or when the defense is collapsing on top of them. You see them throwing it up for P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively. And Rudy Gobert has just been terrible defensively defending that. Karl Anthony Towns has not been good defending that as well. So, I talked about, before coming into this series, Karl Anthony Towns was the best low post defender for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but he has not been able to have a chance to defend in the low post because of the fact of how many backdoor cuts the Dallas Mavericks are doing in this series. Give credit to Jason Kidd on that one. He is doing a phenomenal job coaching this team. I'm also really liking what Kyrie Irving is doing. Anthony Edwards called him out, while Kyrie Irving has definitely delivered. And Kyrie Irving, who was averaging about only almost 2 points in the first quarter coming into this series, has played absolutely incredible throughout all 4 quarters. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from him. He has been a showstopper. He's also been very unselfish with the basketball. He's giving the ball up. He's distributing, as I just mentioned, with the alley-oops to guys like Gafford, Lively, and Washington. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing there from Kyrie Irving. Luka Doncic has been up and down throughout the entire playoffs, but once again, I'm really liking what I'm seeing there. The Minnesota Timberwolves, though, not to just talk about the Mavericks the whole time. I mean, they have just not been good. I mean, it's not like the Celtics series where teams were jumping out to a very big lead and then the Celtics were coming back. They have just not looked good ever since beating the reigning defending champions 3 out of 4 games on their own home court. So it doesn't really make that much sense to me that why the Minnesota Timberwolves are losing these games. I picked them in 5. Do I think they're going to end up – do I think they can win 4 straight games? I don't really think so. Though I think if there ever is a time for a team to potentially or if there ever is a chance for a team to come back to win 4 straight games, this most likely is the team to do it, just based off the matchup and the fact that you have game film from the last few games, so you know what Dallas is going to do with the basketball. If there ever was a chance for them to potentially come back, this definitely is the series. I don't think it's going to happen, but Anthony Edwards has not been playing good. His field goal percentage has been down. I also want to give a chance to call out Karl Anthony Towns for jacking up so many threes. He might average more threes than the Boston Celtics' entire team in the conference finals. I mean, this guy is 6'11", and he's throwing up more threes than Steph Curry. I understand he's saying that, that he's a very good three-point shooting big man. He obviously won the three-point shooting contest just a couple of seasons ago. But this guy is 6'11", and you're going up against guys who are 6'8". There's no way you can't tell me he can't post up, shoot a fadeaway or a hook shot, and he's just standing on the perimeter, jacking up threes the entire time. Rudy Gobert is not known for his offensive game. He's known for his defensive game, though you wouldn't know that based off the defense he has been playing in this series. I had Rudy Gobert as my DPOY, but obviously he is making me look like a fool for that one. He has just played absolutely terrible. So, yeah, Cole?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. First of all, I want to start with Jaden McDaniels. He has been horrible on Luka. I mean, I just want to start off with that. He has just been absolutely horrendous. And I'm going to keep going down the Timberwolves lineup. Karl Anthony Towns, what are you doing? I mean, you have a chance to go to the NBA Finals, and you're just completely, doing whatever you want. I mean, what was he, 0 for 8 on threes at one point? I don't know if that was like 2 different games or 1 game combined. I don't know. But he's just been horrible all around. I mean, he's got to step it up defensively and offensively, especially if they want to have a chance at winning this series. Mike Conley, I said this earlier. I thought he would be the difference maker. I thought he would be the playmaker, the facilitator, and the old veteran that that could show a little bit of, fire or like, I don't know. I don't really know the word for
leadership.
it, but leadership, just facilitate this lineup to score a bunch of points. But he's pretty much been, irrelevant as well. I mean, he hasn't been playing great on either sides of the ball very well. Anthony Edwards, as you said, field goal percentage went down. He was not good enough offensively. I mean, credit to Jamie Hansen, our last guest. He said,
I'm not going to give him too much credit because he was talking yesterday about how Derek White was snubbed of all NBA first team. Don't give him too much credit.
Oh no, I won't give him too much credit.
There you go.
Anthony Edwards has been playing down this series, and I will admit he has not. He has obviously not been playing great at all for the Timberwolves, especially coming off that electric series against the Nuggets, where he outperformed everyone on the court besides Jokic, who puts up incredible numbers. And then Rudy Gobert, like you said, that's the DPOY. Why is he not playing like one? I mean, he is just zero paint presence. And I mean, no one wants to guard Luka. I mean, both Kyrie and Luka are incredible finishers around the rim and can shoot the 3-ball very, very well. And when you look at this team, realize, I mean, they should not be, like, on paper, this Timberwolves team is much better than the Mavericks. But this Mavericks team is much better coached. I like, Coach Finch has not done a great job, game planning against the Mavericks. Because you first have to stop Kyrie and Luka. And I understand, Luka's going to go out and get 30, 10, and 10. Well, you can slow him down in the first quarter, get a lead, and then, he can score a couple points. But, I mean, once you let them get going, I mean, there's no shot in stopping both of them. And then, obviously, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I mean, he's just been irrelevant defensively. I thought he did great in the Nuggets series against Jamal Murray. But, again, no one wants to guard Luka. And then Naz Reid, I mean, he's been the only guy who has, showed up time and time again for the Timberwolves team. I mean, he's just been solid series after series. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't see the Timberwolves winning a game unless they can stop Luka. Because, frankly, the Timberwolves aren't scoring enough points, and Luka is outscoring them. And I understand, obviously, Kyrie and obviously Gafford has done a great job offensively for the Timberwolves. Obviously, Game 3, he didn't get to double digits, but, I mean, he's only playing 20 minutes a game. So, I mean, he's been great for them. And then P.J. Washington has also been great defensively. I just think this Mavs team, frankly, I think they're getting hot, and I think they have a shot at the Boston Celtics. I do.
I also think that, you talked about how they could slow down Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, but I think the biggest problem is that they're not slowing down anything around them.
Yeah, you're right. And that's the thing. When Luka gets going, everyone gets going. It's like Team Takeover in NBA 2K. I mean, you got, Dante Exum got in the game in Game 1. I mean, why? I mean, how is that happening? I mean, I understand they all lost by 3, but I mean, when they're playing like 10 guys, I mean, oh my gosh, I mean, Luka just opens up the floor to everyone at this point because, I mean, frankly, Jaden McDaniels can't stop him from getting a layup for all he cares. I mean, he was hitting shot after shot. And, I mean, I really think that Luka should have won MVP this year. I mean, I understand, Jokic. Well, I mean, let's look at his first MVP. Nuggets. They were 6th seed in the West, right? And, I mean, he was averaging, 27, 10, and 9? Well, look at Luka. He's averaging 33, 10, and 10. I mean, and they're the 5th seed, and now they're going to go to the NBA Finals. I don't see the Timberwolves. I say they win a game or two, but I mean, I don't see them stopping the Mavs from going to the NBA Finals in the long run. I mean, do you, Ryan?
I don't see them winning the series. I mean, I think the Timberwolves could possibly get a game.
Yeah. I mean, I frankly don't even see them getting a game. I mean, from how they played to, their court presence, it's just been, everything has just been down from the Nuggets series. I mean, you win 3 out of 4 games against the reigning champs. Right. And then you come in and you play the Mavericks and you're down 3-0. And, I mean, I would like to be in that locker room. I would not like to be in that locker room after that game 3 because I'm sure Coach Finch had some words for the team, and especially Karl-Anthony Towns and especially Anthony Edwards. They just have not played nearly as well or up to par as they should have or have been playing.
I will pick the Timberwolves to win tonight's game because I'm not sure if you heard, Cole. Derek Lively is out for tonight's game with a neck injury.
I did hear. Yep. Daniel Gafford's going to have to step up. This isn't a must-win game for the Mavericks, right. But I mean, you would like to win to get a couple more days rest for the NBA Finals. Like you said.
I believe Maxi Kleber is also cleared to play as well. We'll see if he is able to get in there tonight without Derek Lively. I'm not sure he's going to be a big difference maker because obviously he's coming off. Last time he played was April 8th, I believe it was, with obviously the AC joint in his shoulder. But yeah, not much more to cover there. I think we've covered it all. I do want to talk a little bit about the Boston series, Cole, not to get you off track or anything here. But really, I want to talk about this first and third game. The Pacers should have won these games. I mean, there is absolutely no way possible you can tell me that the Pacers should have lost these games. Cole, you know I was commentating this game. You know that I said at the tail end of it that the Pacers should have won because of the fact that what do you call it? They had 2 turnovers in the last 20 seconds. I mean, are you absolutely kidding me? And then you obviously that shot with Jaylen Brown to tie you can't do anything about that. I mean, that is just something you can't teach. That is just something that just goes in. It draped over him in the corner. You just can't teach that. The third game, you had however many point lead, and you blow it. Obviously, you didn't have Tyrese Halliburton, but I mean, come on. The Celtics were just jacking up threes the entire time. You're telling me that you can't do anything?
Yeah, I mean, they got outscored by 12 in the fourth quarter. I mean, there's just absolutely no world where you can let that happen, especially, being down 2-0. I mean, you certainly can't go down 3-0 to the Boston Celtics, who are the best team in the league. I mean, look at this Boston Celtics team. It is complete. I mean, there's no one who can't score on that team. I take that back. Their whole bench is just not great at all. But I mean, you look at this team. This team is so complete. Their starting 5 is complete. They don't have that much depth. But I mean, when you're talking about the difference between 2-1 and 3-0, there is a gigantic difference. You're 1 game away from tying it up, or you're 1 game away from losing the series. And this is one thing that the Pacers need to do better. They need to be worlds better on the defensive side, and they've been scoring so many points. I mean, I don't know where it came from, but I mean, they just need to score more points, and that's what they did in the regular season. That's what led to success. And then you come into this Eastern Conference Finals, you don't score like how you've been scoring throughout the season. And I mean, I looked in this game 3, I look at Aaron Nesmith. He was not good enough whatsoever. I think he definitely needed to step up. But Halliburton, I mean, you hate to see a guy go down, especially, in this big of a stage. I mean, there's just, yeah. I don't really have that much on it.
I think that Boston has gotten pretty much an easy road to the finals. I mean,
100%.
I mean, I'm not discrediting what they did in the regular season. They obviously had a very good regular season. Jason Tatum played very, very well. Jaylen Brown obviously deserved the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. They finally gave it to the guy who was not the biggest superstar and the most marketable. I still say that in the 2020 NBA Finals, Anthony Davis should have won Finals MVP over LeBron James. I will go with that opinion till to my grave. Hope someone says that at my funeral. Anyway, I think that it was a great thing that Jaylen Brown got the MVP. I mean, 40 points in game 2. They dominated that game. That's really the only game that they really had control of. I'm looking at the Boston Celtics right now. That, as I just mentioned, they have an easy road to the finals. If they can get a win here, they have about 10 days off. Kristaps Porzingis is most likely going to be healthy by then. So you'll have him back to probably face the Dallas Mavericks. He'll have that size advantage. Now that's not really the biggest factor against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but you always could definitely use it for rebounding and whatnot. But yeah, Halliburton obviously going down was obviously a big problem. He re-aggravated that hamstring injury from January, which is just sad to see. But for the Pacers, I mean, I mentioned it when they traded for Pascal Siakam back in January that this could be a move that can make an immediate impact for them as soon as this season, and boy, it definitely did. Obviously, they had their own fair share of an easy road to the conference finals, but obviously the New York Knicks were a bit of a problem, even without all their guys that were on the injured list. So yeah, you really like to see it if you are the Indiana Pacers. They will for sure be back healthy next season. I'm a big fan of Benedict Mathurin. I think he's a very good player. Obviously averaging 13 points a game last season. So you really like to see that there. He'll be back. So yeah, we will see them. We will see them back for sure.
I will say before we wrap up on this.
Yep.
I mean, the Pacers turnovers, that was the big thing in game 1 and 3. They just turned the ball over too much. Like you said, Ryan, the last 20 seconds. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, yeah. So that's all I really have on that.
Right. All right. Moving on. Ryan's rants. The first ever Ryan's rant of the summer editions. Cole, give me the first topic, baby.
Karl Anthony Towns.
All right, we talked about this a bit earlier, but Karl Anthony Towns, what are you doing, man? I mean, you're jacking up 53s a game like you're Steph Curry, as I already mentioned. But God forbid, I mean, you are 6'11". I mean, I think the ceiling is 6'11". I mean, are you absolutely? It's not obviously not, but still, are you absolutely insane? You are 6'11". You are in the gym pumping iron every single day, and you're telling me you can't post up a guy that's 6'5" to 6'8"? Are you absolutely nuts? Absolutely insane. Not sure why he's doing this. Give me the second topic.
Second topic: the Braves.
The Braves. Now, I'm not necessarily mad at the Braves because obviously they have lost Ronald Acuna Jr., Spencer Strider. I'm a bit mad about why they're still going all this talk about why the Atlanta Braves are still a contender without these two guys. I mean, these are the top two guys on the Atlanta Braves. The reigning defending MVP. One of the best young pitchers in the MLB, though I don't like to say that because it's obviously Spencer Strider. But I mean, the Braves are done this year. I mean, I don't care. They can make the wild card. They can do anything. But this is ridiculous. Not sure why the Atlanta Braves are being talked up as to still be a team that is a force to be reckoned with. They could be a sneaky team, but they're not going to be better than teams like the Dodgers, the Phillies, and so on.
Last one. The Paul George being rated higher than Tyrese Maxey.
Let me tell you something right here. I just read, the rankings for NBA free agency. Why is Paul George rated higher than Tyrese Maxey? What did Paul George do better than Tyrese Maxey this year? The only thing he did better than him was miss games. I mean, are you absolutely crazy? If Paul George comes to the Philadelphia 76ers, he's going to be the third option on this team. I mean, why is he being ranked? Maxey had a career high in points, rebounds, assists, steals, played the best defense of his career under Nick Nurse. I'm not necessarily sure why Paul George is being ranked above Tyrese Maxey. Obviously, it's something to debate, but Paul George missed more games, and Tyrese Maxey was, obviously, I think was better than Paul George this season. Not sure why Paul George is being ranked higher than Tyrese Maxey. All right. Anything on these topics, Cole?
No. You said it perfectly.
All righty. So yeah, that'll pretty much do it for the CR7 podcast. Cole will probably talk about this in a minute here. We'll talk about this when we get off the air. But we probably will be doing the podcast next Monday. Not necessarily sure if we're going. Not necessarily sure if we will have an episode next week. I am going to Washington D.C. On Tuesday, actually. So yeah, we'll be talking about that. We'll obviously put an update out on the X account. So make sure you guys go follow that up to get all the latest news from the CR7 podcast. So yeah, most likely next Monday for an episode. The first summer episode, I think it went pretty well. What do you think?
I agree.
I think it went pretty well. We're obviously not in our McHugh media studio, a very great studio. Not really don't have much more to say about that. Obviously, a great studio. We love it there, but we're not going to be back there until the until next school year, and also a bit of more updates about next school year. We probably will be moving the podcast to Mondays. We'll have to talk about that as well. I would love to go in for the podcast during the summer, but unfortunately, Cole, I know you're taking bio, right?
Yeah, I'm taking bio over the summer.
Interesting.
Sadly.
And obviously, I'm working. I'm off to work. So yeah, pretty chill day. I mean, pretty chill day here on the CR7 podcast. Did you not go to school? I didn't see you.
I did not. Okay. I didn't have any finals today.
I feel you. Yeah, I had one, and then I came home and I set up for this. Are you exempt from Latin tomorrow?
I am.
Oh my gosh! Goodness gracious! Look at him over here. I gotta take that tomorrow, and I'll be home for home for the summer. So yeah, tomorrow's the last day of St. Joe's prep. But you guys will be able to continue to see us here on the CR7 podcast. That'll do it for the latest edition of this podcast, guys, and we will see you later.